office and events coordinator at the Small Business Center. And today is our final webinar for our tourism series, so Tourism Business Tuneup on the Road to Recovery. And today's topic is the new e-commerce paradigm. And this webinar is brought to you by Zack Talsma. He is from Lure Marketing, and he's here to explain to us a little more about e-commerce and what's important and what you need to do for your e-commerce, how to build it, and that sort of tips and tricks on how to make it successful. All right, I just want to remind everyone too to make sure you keep your microphones off. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to jot that in the chat box below. This is chat right in the bottom. I'll let you take it off, Zach.
Okay, great, thanks. Today we're going to be talking e-commerce, specifically how to build an e-commerce strategy from the ground up. Even if, let's say you're in an industry where e-commerce really hasn't made sense in the past, we're going to make it so, with everything going on in the world, it's becoming more and more important for pretty much every business to have some sort of e-commerce strategy. So, why e-commerce? That's the most basic thing we want to answer. The first point is that it expands your reach. So selling online allows you to broaden your customer base beyond the immediate area and sell products and services to people across the province, country, or even across the world. It's also always open. So, even if you're just planning on selling to people in the immediate area, an e-commerce store never closes. So if you're open from 9 to 5 and someone wants to shop at midnight or 3 in the morning or whenever, your e-commerce store is going to be there to accept the business. It also introduces new ways of doing business. So this current pandemic has created a lot of challenges for small businesses in many different sectors. But businesses that can adapt the way they do business, these changes can actually represent an opportunity rather than a hindrance. So even companies that previously weren't a good fit for e-commerce, so, restaurants, hotels to a lesser extent, but, fitness studios, they've really begun to leverage e-commerce in a way that's helped them succeed, even though, they basically can't do business the way they used to. It's just impossible in the current climate. Other businesses have simply used it as a way for their customers to prepay for orders for contactless pickup. So, as you obviously know, contactless pickup has been a big thing that's come out of this. So even businesses that were able to be open have offered that as a way for people, that aren't comfortable shopping. So, even businesses that are, even e-commerce businesses or businesses that had a brick and mortar and e-commerce have used it for different ways. So you can still, no matter how you choose to do business, e-commerce can help basically. So, restaurants have taken to doing, online orders. I've seen some, do basically like markets where you can get different produce or different sort of food items that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get, or that you'd be able to get, their particular brand that they use or whatever, or, even, some locally have done, frozen meals that they cook and you just, bring home and reheat type of thing. And that's been all done online. Again, fitness studios, yoga studios have started doing online courses, basically, where, over Zoom or however they do it, you can take fitness classes again. So there's definitely different ways of leveraging e-commerce that's not just, selling a physical product to someone, across the country, let's say. And more people are shopping online. So the stat that I say here is actually from last year. So that basically it's from last year to 2021 was thought to increase by 50%. That was before the pandemic. If anything, it's increased by more than that already. I know Canada Post and various other delivery services have talked about, basically being at Christmas level of work since the lockdown started. So that, usually they were busy, for 2 months that way. Now they've been busy for the last 9 months that way. So it really tells you how much people are buying online now versus what they did even last year. And it's actually relatively easy to get started. So setting up e-commerce has never been easier or cheaper. Before it was, custom built from the ground up websites or very sort of boutique CMSs that were used, that were highly specialized and very expensive. You were talking 10, 20, $30,000 to get something usable, where now, you know, for even less than $1,000, you can get something up there. So there's before you start with e-commerce, there's a few things you have to ask yourself before you even get to the kind of the strategies part of it. One of which is, what are you going to sell? So just because you sell 100 products in your store doesn't mean the online store should also have 100 products. Some things are hard to ship. Others have low margins, where selling online, where you're up against, let's say bigger retailers that can survive off lower margins, it makes selling the profitably online very difficult. So you want to sort of scale down to just, at first at least, selling a few products, high profit margin, ones that are easy to ship. Out of those 100, let's say you pick 10 to 15 to maybe 20 that are most guaranteed for success. Then you slowly bring in more with time as you gain experience. So as I just mentioned, though, we're not talking today just about e-commerce for products. So you can also apply the same thing to services. So again, let's say you're a yoga studio and you have 4 or 5 different classes, and you might want to start out just offering one online so that you can gain some experience, figure out what works, what doesn't, and then apply that to everything. So you're not overwhelming yourself basically by having to do everything you do in person online. So the first thing that you're going to want to figure out is, what are you actually going to be offering online? The next is how you're going to track inventory. So again, let's say if you're selling products online, you need a way that if you sell something, you have it on hand. People expect things to ship quickly. Amazon's kind of, let's say, ruined that for everyone, where people are expecting, shipping within a day or two. If it takes longer than a week, they probably aren't going to buy it, essentially. So, if you don't have something on hand and you sell it and you have to order it, and that whole process can be very frustrating for the customer. And, obviously, because it's causing delays that they're no longer used to, let's say. So some common ways of dealing with inventory tracking are having separate online and in-store inventories. So you have, 10 of a product, you're going to put 2 for the online and 8 for the in-store inventories. And you're not going to, if you sell something in store, you sell through your 8, you're going to order more rather than using the online ones. Or you're going to take them from the online and remove it yourself, physically from the online store. The other is to limit online inventory. So if you always have, at least 5 in stock of something, you're going to limit the online inventory to 2 or 3, something under 5, where you're always going to have that on hand. And then you would adjust it manually as you add more in. So if it's saying you're out online, you can just add 3 to the sort of virtual online inventory. And the other way to do it, which is the best, but not always possible, in fact, I would say fairly rarely is it possible, where you connect it directly to your in-store point of sale system. So if you sell something in the store, it automatically adjusts the inventory online and vice versa. How will you process payments is another big thing. So there are, let's say, some online only sort of payment processors like PayPal and Stripe that are fairly easy to set up. They're free to set up, but they do charge higher processing fees. If you already have a payment processor set up, Moneris, Elavon, Global Payments, there's a bunch of them that, for a physical, debit credit machine in a store, you can often use that same account to process payments online. There's generally a little extra setup. You have to call them. They have to activate an online store. They'll generally also charge you a setup fee for that. But, if it saves you usually, let's say 2% or so, on your processing fees, it's pretty quick that you kind of recoup that initial time and expense to get that set up. But if it's something, again, where you're just testing it out for a couple of months and you want to see whether it really takes off, PayPal, Stripe is probably the better way to go, just a proof of concept type of thing. And how are you going to deliver your offering? So this is a big thing that I would say most people know that it's going to be an issue, but they don't realize, exactly how much planning goes involved in the delivery of online orders. So if you're planning on shipping things outside your area, it's important that you figure out what providers you're going to deal with, what they charge, what sort of delivery, timelines they're going to promise you, so that you can then relay that and, even, I guess, figure out, your own shipping costs, what that's going to be and what you're going to have to charge your customer. So again, how many days it will take for your customers to receive their orders. A big part of that is in the shipper that you use, but it also is going to be the time from order to you actually sending it out to be shipped. So, if you get an order at 5 p.m., are you going to process that? Are you going to stay late to process it, or are you going to do it the next day? From there, are you then shipping it same day, or are you waiting until the following day? Are they coming to pick up from you every, day or every couple of days? So that's the sort of stuff you got to figure out in terms of what you're going to promise to the customer. And then using all that as well to figure out if you can provide free shipping, charge a flat rate, vary charges based on order size. So there's some, Canada Post has modules for e-commerce that will calculate shipping for you. So if you put in the weights, sizes of your products, and they will say, okay, yes, that will be $14.81, and it'll automatically charge the customer for that. Now, even if you're not planning on selling, even if you are planning on selling to the local market for in-store pickups, or, it's for services, there's still a delivery component to that. So again, how long is it going to take you to put together orders? So even if someone's coming to your store to pick something up, can they pick it up same day? Can they come an hour later and grab it? Or is there a processing time where they have to wait till the following day? If you're delivering something online, so let's say, again, you're doing a fitness class and are you sending that Zoom link out? Can they register 10 minutes before it starts, an hour before it starts, the day before it starts? What's the cutoff for that? Again, how are you going to send out that link? Do you send it out as soon as they register? Do you send it out to everyone at once, half an hour before it starts? Figuring that out and communicating that. Again, if they're picking something up in store, how do they come and pick it up? How do they show proof of purchase? This can also be very key for, again, online services. If you're sending out a Zoom link to 10 people that registered and paid money, what's stopping them from then sharing that link with 10 people that haven't registered? How do people show proof of purchase? Just as easily as in store, someone saying, oh yeah, I ordered X, Y, and Z, do they have to bring in a receipt? Do they have to, whatever? So figuring that sort of stuff out as well is going to help you a lot when you actually get started to ensure things are running smoothly. Another thing is, how are you going to deal with returns? So, what situation are you going to accept returns? Will you refund the order? Is it going to be an in-store credit? If it's something that's been physically shipped to a customer, do they have to ship it back? Who pays for that shipping? If it's something where someone's picked it up in the store, do they just bring it back to the store? Again, all that sort of stuff is good to be thought out ahead of time and told to the customer before the orders, just to ensure that there's going to be no issues. And then what CMS, I used the term CMS earlier, and it just stands for Content Management System. It's basically the framework in which your website's built. So the last thing you want to figure out is what CMS you're going to use. So there's a lot of common ones: WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. They all are either e-commerce focused or provide e-commerce solutions within them, or add-ons, or sometimes you have to buy, sometimes they're free, but almost every CMS that is used to build a website is now at least has the option of e-commerce. So if you already have a website, it could be as simple as adding a basic shop to your existing website, or you could build a second website which is e-commerce focused. So I've seen both, where essentially you have, so for luremarketing.ca, which is my website, I might either just add a shop page to that, or I might add a subdomain, which is, shop.luremarketing.ca, which is built in a different CMS, which is, better suited to e-commerce. And then I don't have to make adjustments to my current website, basically. So it can be an easier way of doing it. So figuring that out and what makes the most sense, both in budget terms and in terms of what's going to help your success, so having sort of a half-baked e-commerce extension because that's all that's available, might end up hurting you. Whereas spending an extra few $100s to get something a little more, ready-made for e-commerce, can really help get you those extra orders, or just have people take you seriously, or sometimes it's all, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the design of the website and the flow of how they get from, let's say, the homepage to the checkout page can really affect how many orders you get. So, having, again, let's say like a half-baked sort of e-commerce solution added onto your website because that's all that was really available, can really end up hurting you in the long run. So let's get into actually building an e-commerce strategy. So no matter what you do, what you're going to offer, these sort of tips are going to help you get in the right direction. So as e-commerce has continued to grow, and again, very much accelerated in the last few months, more and more small businesses have started to get into e-commerce, but many of them aren't going to find success. The reason for that is more or less what we've talked about in the last few slides, is not having that plan in place, not, just, okay, we need to do e-commerce. Let's put some products online. What do we sell? Let's throw it up there and figure it out. One of the nice things about e-commerce is that, again, it's easy to get started, and it instantly opens you up to the world, or to whatever part of the world you want to be opened up to, let's say. But it also opens you up to a lot more competition, and it's a lot easier for someone to change. They're not having to get in their car and drive to the next store or the next, business. It's as easy as opening another tab and checking something else out. So if they have a bad experience, it's not like you're the only game in town. They can go to any number of $100 that are a click away. So, getting it right from the start is the best way. And that's what we're going to be talking about here. So it all starts with a solid strategy. And how do you build a solid, successful e-commerce strategy? We're going back to, marketing 101 and the 4 Ps. For those that don't know, have never done a marketing course, the 4 Ps, it's also called the marketing mix, is product, price, promotion, and place. These 4 things are how you basically position your products in the marketplace, how you get your value across to the customer. So the product is the thing you're selling. It's a good or a service that's meant to meet a specific need or demand in your customer base. The price is the price that it sells for. Also note that price can include time and effort. So again, if your website is hard to navigate and it takes a lot of time and it's difficult, that essentially increases the price of the product. If 2 websites have the price exactly the same, this service costs $100. One website's super easy to use, one website's very difficult to use. They're going to go with the one that's easier to use. It's a lower price. Price includes time and effort. Promotion is the marketing strategies and techniques that you use to promote your products, your offering. And then place is how the product will be provided to the customer. So in this case, place is online or in-store pickup, or, again, however you're going to deliver. Going back a couple of slides, however you plan on doing the delivery of the product, that's the place. So for most small businesses, at least at this point, the three of those four P's are pretty straightforward. You know what you're selling, you know what the price is going to be, and you know how you're going to deliver it. So you have the product, the price, and the place. The promotion is usually where a lot of e-commerce strategies kind of stumble. So in order to get the promotion strategy right, we have to properly define our target market. So rather than just say, we're targeting people that are local and over the age of 40, you want to get a little more in depth to really try to define and understand who exactly is going to be interested in what you're doing. So demographics, geographics, interests, psychology. Quick example. So let's say we're a store that sells vinyl records. Your audience, rather than just being, people that like music, because most people that like music are just going to download it on their phone. They're going to, listen to it MP3, Spotify, they're going to take the path of least resistance to get the most music possible. People that buy vinyl records are, let's say millennials. They like music. They're looking at music more as an activity rather than passively listening to it in the background. Let's say they have some disposable income and they're willing to spend more money for better sound, because that's really what it comes down to with vinyl. It's a better sound than you're going to get through Spotify, through an MP3 player, but it also takes money in order to set all that up. You need to buy, it's not just on your phone. You need speakers, you need a record player, you need an amp, you need, a lot of things. And the records themselves are also not cheap. So you're not just targeting your offering to anyone that likes music. You're looking for a very specific part of the music liking crowd, let's say. So after you define that audience, and you can even go more in depth in this. This is a pretty broad still, but once you've defined that audience, you need to find out their pain points. What is not good about the record buying experience that you can help with? So, common pain points could be high cost of records. So you're going to be cheaper. You're going to have what everyone else has, but you're going to be, $2 less or something that incentivizes them to go online. Or it could be limited selection. Okay, you're going to be exactly what everyone else is, but they're going to be able to go to your store and they're going to be able to find, 10 times more than will they be able to find in a local record shop. Or maybe they don't even, live anywhere near a record shop and, it's a long drive. Something like that. You could go with, convenience. Don't drive to an hour out of your way. Come right here and we'll deliver it to you. So you got to figure out those pain points and what your sell is going to be based on those. So what if you have more than one target audience though? In this case, you're going to basically come up with two different audiences. So, I have an example here of a hot tub. So people that buy hot tubs, some of them are looking for therapeutic benefits. They might have back pain, leg pain, something like that, and they want a hot tub to help alleviate those. Others, they don't necessarily have any pain, but they're just looking for something to relax, sort of a stress relief, end of the day, unwind and just relax. Those two people obviously are going to be marketed to very differently. You don't want to talk about pain relief to someone that doesn't have any pain, but you definitely want to talk about it to people that are experiencing pain and how it's going to help that. So you're going to come up with two different market segments with unique pain points, unique profiles, and you're going to sell to them differently. So now that we know who we're targeting, we have to figure out how to reach those people as best as possible. And marketing is going to take both time and money. With small businesses, you often don't have much of either, especially right now. So to be successful, you're going to have to pick and choose where you're going to funnel your resources. Which ones you choose are going to be based on, one, the target market that we just defined, two, your budget. So, you might do one, you might do two, you might do three, you might do four different channels that you're going to advertise in. A lot of that comes down to budget. You want to be able to reach one well before you move on to the second one. If you're doing a little bit into four different marketing channels, you're doing social media, you're doing Google ads, you're doing SEO work, you're doing content marketing, you're really stretching your budget very thin and probably won't be able to really make a headway in any one of those. Whereas if you just focused on one, you'd get better results. The other two things you want to consider are your products and your goals. So some products just work better in other marketing channels than other ones will. So social media, for example, if you have a something that's either very, very unique or relatively inexpensive, let's say $100 or less, you'll find reasonable to very good success on social media. Where if you're trying to sell something or something that everyone's kind of seen before, it's a lot tougher to sell. With very expensive things, social media tends to be more of an impulse purchase. A several $1,000 item for most people is not an impulse purchase, so you're going to struggle with that. And if it's something that everyone's kind of seen and is familiar with, they'll just probably scroll right by it because they're to really stand out on social media, you need something unique for sure. And then goals. So are you looking to sell things? Are you looking to just get your name out there? Again, different marketing channels work better or worse depending on what exactly you're looking to do. So again, target market, choosing marketing channels that aren't popular with your target market is just a waste of time. If your ads don't reach the people you need them to see, then you're going to have a hard time generating meaningful sales. So, if you're targeting the over 60 crowd and you're looking at Instagram, yes, there are some people that are on Instagram that are over 60, but the vast majority aren't. So you're going to be, for the most part, marketing to people outside of your target market. Let's say 8 out of 10 people are going to be outside of your target market, where if you were to shift over to Facebook, it might be double the amount of people in your target market are on there. So just by switching a social media channel, you can increase the amount of people in your target market that are going to see your ads. And then, as I mentioned, budgets are going to be relatively small now for most small businesses. So rather than trying to be everywhere, try to stick to the number of channels that your marketing budget can properly support. Your product, again, some work better for others than others will. Google ads and social media ads are usually the best example, where high profit, sort of more expensive items are going to do better on Google ads, where those impulse purchases are going to be a lot better on social media. And then your goals. So, if you're looking for brand awareness, just to get your ads out to 10,000 people as cheaply as possible, you can use display ads, where AdWords search ads would be best if you want to just generate sales. You just need to increase the amount of sales that your website's getting. I would say 9 times out of 10, that's going to be your focus with e-commerce. And I do have, if you're wondering a little bit and you need some direction, I do have this quick quiz on my website, which is linked to in the presentation. I will send out the presentation in a PDF that you can, get the slides, and these links will be clickable. But basically, you just answer a few questions. What best describes your business? What's your primary goal? Average sales amount? So 5 questions, and you'll get a general idea. So if I do a quick one here, so we're looking to sell more product as an e-commerce store, lower sales amount. It's pretty much an impulse purchase, and they're pretty straightforward, so they don't require a lot of explanation. Social media, SEM, which is Google search advertising, and email marketing is what it suggests. And you can just hit play again to do a different, again, let's say you want to do 2 different businesses or something like that, or just play around to see. That's available. It gives you generally a pretty good idea of what you should be doing. So we now have the marketing channels that we're going to be using. Now we got to start targeting our ads. So the key now, let's say again, we know we're targeting a certain market that's going to be on Instagram, and Instagram is going to be the best, channel for us to reach these people. That doesn't mean that everyone on Instagram is your target market, though. So one of the very good things about digital advertising is that you can filter out, let's say, undesirable demographics or interests from your ads. So, if you're targeting people that are 40 and over, you can get rid of people, 30 and under pretty reliably. So there are two reasons for this being a very, very good thing. Again, targeting your ads within the marketing channels that you choose. The first reason is that you're not wasting your budget showing ads to people that are interested in what you offer. So again, you're not advertising things meant for 30, 40, 50-year-olds to 15-year-olds that are never going to care about it. But your ads will also perform better if they are showing to only people that are going to be interested in it, or at least a higher percentage of people that are going to be interested in it, which actually in most digital marketing platforms will actually be rewarded with cheaper ad clicks. So the way digital advertising works is essentially an auction. So, in a regular auction, if you're willing to bid $4 and I'm willing to bid $3, you're going to win the auction. But digital ad auctions work on percentages. So let's say that you're willing to bid $3 and you have a click-through rate, CTR is click-through rate of 5%. So 5 people out of 100 are going to click on your ad. I'm advertiser 2. I'm willing to spend $4. So, I should win because I'm willing to spend more. But my click-through rate is only 3%. So only 3 out of 100 are going to click on my ad. If you do some quick math, you'll actually see that if they go with your ad with a 5% click-through rate, they'll make $15 where they'll only make $12 on me. So for that reason, you'll be the winning bid, and they'll often even charge you less than the $3 you're willing to spend. So having a good target market or a good targeting around your target market on these platforms will often be rewarded. Google, Facebook for sure, even other ones, Twitter, I've seen, LinkedIn. Well, there are other search engines as well that do advertising, and they'll all reward better performance with cheaper clicks. So you get more clicks for the same money, and your ads are targeted to the people that are probably going to buy. So again, two different ways you can get more sales, basically, without increasing what you're spending. So as I mentioned a couple of times, you can go by age, you can go by interest as well, geographic area. So if you're just selling to your local market, you're just going to have your ads in your local market. 50 kilometers around Belleville is as far as you're going to go normally. So that's as far as your ad targeting is going to go. A lot of social media like Facebook allows you to go by interest. If you're a business to business, you can target on LinkedIn, job titles, specific companies to get the ads to the people that are going to benefit most from that, or that you're interested in reaching that you can't reach otherwise. Behavior. So again, this is more to specifically Facebook and Google ads or other search engine ads, where based on your search history or the things that you input into Facebook, they can see that you're either a person that's traveling frequently or you're in the market to buy a certain item, and you can target your ads based on those people that show those behaviors. And then again, with search engines, keyword. So, if someone's searching for the exact thing that you sell, you're going to target that keyword. When they search for that, your ad's going to show up, and not for others. So with negative audiences, it can sometimes be difficult to define exactly who you want to reach, but you can almost always define who you don't want to reach. And that's where negative audiences come in. So negative audiences are audiences you can add that are people that you don't want to show your ads to. So even if this person is typing in the keyword that you want to type, again, if they're not in the right age or in the right geographic area or whatever the case may be, your ad's not going to show. Or if they're adding free, so free, whatever your service is, it's not going to show up. Again, using yoga classes, free online yoga classes versus online yoga classes. Obviously, two very different searches, one of which is something you want to show for, the other which is not. Other examples that I use here, targeting newlyweds as a negative audience for wedding rings. they're already married. At this point, you hope they don't need another wedding ring. So let's get rid of them in the target audience. People that work in the legal services industry are probably not going to be interested in your legal services. So we'll get rid of them in our ads on LinkedIn. So, there's a lot of different ways you can use negative audiences to further narrow who you're showing your ads to. Okay, so we have all the targeting in place. We know who we're reaching. We know where we're reaching them. And we have some targeting built in to reach them better. Now we have to sell to them. So writing your ads. The first step in writing an ad is figuring out how to position your product or service. So positioning is a marketing term that refers to consumers' perception of your products or services or brand in relation to competing products, services, or brands. So one brand might be the most convenient, the other might be the most affordable, the third might be the best quality. Again, going back to that example of the record store. How are you positioning yourself? Are you, the most affordable you'll find anywhere? Do you offer the best selection, or are you, the cheapest, fastest shipping? Whatever the case may be, you're positioning yourself versus your competition. So there always has to be a competition perspective to positioning. You can also use positioning to give yourself a personality. So, one company might be edgy and creative. Another might be, smart and practical. Another one might be fun. So you can add a little bit of personality to this as well. And all this is getting to defining an offer. So what is the offer that anytime you're advertising something, you need an offer or a call to action. And it could be, simply savings, you need to save 10% off, $5 a month, whatever, buy 10, get a free, whatever. All of these things, some sort of savings, limited time, or whether it's always happening, whatever. Free add-on. So, if they're buying a service from you, they'll also get this other add-on service or a free product to go along with it. Free shipping, or they'll get some faster shipping, or you just have the best customer service, or you have a money back guarantee that no one else has. You need some sort of offer, something, again, in that positioning. What do you do better than everyone else, or what can you offer that's not being offered elsewhere? And really what you're trying to get to with all of this is, why should someone buy from your website? So as I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest strengths of e-commerce is how easy it is for people locally or around the world to find your website and make a purchase at any time of the day, whenever it's convenient for them. But again, it's also very easy for consumers to leave your website and make a purchase on another competitor's website. So why should they make a purchase on your website? This is what you need to be answering with positioning and your offer. And again, I have a clickable link here that'll take you to the Pellicase website, which is one of the websites that I find does this the best. I sort of tangentially know the owner of this business, and I know that they've grown from basically selling a few cases a week to now tens of thousands. They've gone to a multi-million-dollar business in 5 to 6 years, selling recycled plastic phone cases only. Well, they do have more now, but up until a year or so, they have watch bands and accessories and stuff now. But up until about a year ago, phone cases was all they did. And here we can see a few things. So right off the top, you have buy one case, get one case free, free shipping on orders over $25. So there's two reasons to buy right there. You're getting a free case and you're getting free shipping as long as you spend over $25, which is pretty reasonable. Next, you have a strong positioning statement, which is, together we can stop plastic at the source. So they use recycled plastic, and they have a big sort of green, good for the earth positioning, which is pretty unique. At least it was. I think there are some other phone cases that are doing this now based on their success of Pellicase. But at the time when they started, was a huge thing that differentiated them from everyone else. Again, everything's recycled plastic, and they have a bunch of stats here about how much plastic you're saving, how good this is for the earth. Here's another really good thing: reviews, 5-star reviews. And if you keep going, you're getting 5% of total sales is donated. So again, more reasons they're a good company to work with. You're doing a good thing by buying the case. That's the positioning. And then they're also, again, giving you in there buy one, get one free, free shipping on orders over $25. In the past, they've done things like, you spin a wheel, and based on the spin of the wheel, you might save 5%, you might save 10%, you might get free shipping, you might get, whatever. So they switch this up over time, but in this, you have a strong positioning statement and you have a strong offer. And that's what you want your website to be as well. And here you go, I'm about to leave. And they have another thing, so you can sign up today and be entered to adopt a WWF animal of your choice. Again, good for the earth, fits with their brand, and gets you to sign up for their email list so you can get offers from them every week, probably. So we now have kind of everything we need to write our ad. So how do we write a good, effective ad that's going to bring people to the website and get them to buy? You first want to do that. You first want to focus on creating a strong, compelling headline. So digital ads fall into two categories. Let's say there's text only, and then there's sort of mixed media where you have text with either an image or video or both. For text only ads, the headline is going to be what stops people and makes them read the ad. If you have a great offer, really compelling ad text, but your headline sucks, no one's going to read the stuff that's good because the headline didn't draw them in, basically. So focus I would say 80% of your time on a headline and the call to action. So you always close with a call to action. So, your call to action is going to essentially be positioning an offer either combined or one or the other. So your offer, if it's something simple like save 10% for a limited time, there's your call to action. If it's, save the earth, whatever, you can kind of go from there, where you're not really giving them any money off, but you're still giving them a reason to buy. The call to action is, your phone case is killing the earth with all of the, non-recyclable materials. Here's something that's built from pure recycled plastic. For your next phone case, do something good for the world. Not quite that strong, but that's the idea you want to get across. Then be as specific as you can. So if you have a specific offer, use statistics. Again, going back to this, they don't say that they've saved, thousands of pounds of plastic. They say they've saved 336,438 pounds of plastic. It's a very specific number that that they've been tracking. It's a lot more powerful than hundreds of thousands, because that could be 110,000 or it could be 900,000. It's not as specific. It's not, again, they're not tracking it, and you can tell that it's not made up, but it's also not super accurate. So use statistics whenever possible to back up what you're saying. And be as specific as you can as well with your offer. So, not save big for a limited time, it's save X% or X dollars, or, you're saving an exact thing for a limited time or until X date, even if you want to get more specific rather than for a limited time. For ads that use images or video or something to that effect, rather than just being text only, you want to put a lot of effort into choosing the right image. So something that's unique, something that's powerful, big, bold colors, something that will make people stop and look at it, essentially. With video, that's your first 5 seconds of your video. It's the same thing. Most people stop watching videos in the first 5 seconds, whether that be online or, on social media rather, or in an online ad. So those first 5 seconds really need to get people, get their attention, but also compel them to keep watching the rest of the video, where you actually have time to get into the whole point of the video. So it's always that first initial thing, the headline in a text ad, the image in an image ad, and the first 5 seconds of a video ad. That is the most important. It's absolutely critical in getting any sort of traction from your ads. And then you're also going to want to write separate ads for different market segments. So going back to the hot tub example, talking specifically about pain relief for your pain relief crowd, and talking specifically about how nice and relaxing it is after a long workday for the relaxation crowd, let's call them. So just going over what we've talked about, kind of just quickly, the way you want to build your promotion strategy is first defining your audience, then building customer profiles based on that audience, defining your offer and positioning to each of those segments if you have more than one. Pick your marketing channels that are going to be most effective for reaching those people based on your goals, based on everything else we've previously done there. Then targeting your ads, using those customer profiles, and designing your ads based on your offer positioning and the profiles. So that's the kind of the order of operations of doing a promotion strategy. We got 2 quick more things to go through, and then we'll have time for questions. If you do have questions, again, you can type them in the chat. We'll have a little question segment at the end if there are any. But if something does come up that's like very crucial to a certain slide, feel free to type it in there as well, and I may stop and deal with it right then. So website design. As we talked about briefly, of the 4 Ps, price is not just the physical price of what you're selling, it's also the time and effort it's going to take. So, part of that being how hard is it to actually make a purchase on the website. Websites that are slow to load, hard to navigate, or have outdated or unappealing design will cost you money in the e-commerce game. Amazon has, I can't remember how many people, but they have a team of people. I want to say it was around 10 people whose full-time job is to get them to load fractions of a second faster. So if their page loads in 0.9 seconds, they have 10 people, or did a few years ago, working full-time, 40 hours a week each, to make them load at 0.89 rather than 0.9 seconds. Every 100th of a second that their page loads faster, Amazon has found that they make a few extra $1 million in the course of a year. It's 100th of 1% of what they do, but it's also a very, very low amount. So if you can go from your page loading in 5 seconds to loading in 2 seconds, you can see how much more, you might be getting an extra 10 orders a year, 15 orders a year, 20 orders a year, depends on your current volume. But, if Amazon can make millions of dollars off of 100th of a second, you can make hundreds or thousands of dollars off of loading a couple seconds faster, 100%. The stats behind it are pretty incredible. A website that loads in 10 seconds versus one that loads in 2 seconds, how long people stay on that website, how often they will make a purchase from it, or fill out a form or engage with it in some way. Hard to navigate. This is a thing that I find with a lot of people that make the mistake of, again, they sell 100 or 1,000 items in store, and they try to put them all on the website at once. It can become a nightmare to navigate and find the things that you want to find. If they can't find the product they're looking to get to or the service, then they're just going to go somewhere else. And outdated, unappealing design, that can be a little subjective, but especially if it's not mobile friendly, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because most traffic now is online is on mobile phones. It hit 50% 3 years ago or so, and is now, I think, 55% or so of all traffic online is mobile devices. So if you're not mobile friendly, it's just you're killing half of your business basically online. Landing pages. This is a big thing that often is overlooked by small businesses. These are the pages that people land on after clicking on one of your ads. So whether you have custom design landing pages or whether you're just using existing pages on your website, you want to make sure that those pages that your customers land on are the best for that particular ad. So if you're advertising a specific product, the ad should go to that product page, not the category page, not your home page. Overall, you want to avoid your home page as a destination for your ads to land. If you're having a specific sale, you can build a page on the site that's talking about that sale and have the products that are relevant to that sale included in the page. Your conversion rate or your sale rate is going to be 3 to 4 times bigger than if you put it on the homepage. Because if you put people looking for a specific thing on your homepage, you're now forcing them to look through your website to find the thing rather than putting them right there. It adds a time cost, and it just allows them to be distracted, forget why they're there, start looking at other things, and then, leave without making a purchase when they fully intended on buying, whatever it is, that one thing that you got. People have very short attention spans. And again, if you can lead them further down the sales funnel, think of your website as a sales funnel, with the homepage being the top of the funnel and the checkout page being the bottom. If you can start them 3 to 4 steps into that process where they're, halfway down the funnel on the product page, why not do that? And just closing out today with some just kind of miscellaneous e-commerce strategy tips, some of which we've already talked about, but just to kind of hammer home the most important ones. Starting small. It's always a good idea. I say usually here, but I'm going to go even stronger and say it's always a good idea to start small with e-commerce. Start by selling only a few of the highest profit products or services that you offer. If you have 10 different classes, or, if you're a restaurant and you're going to be doing, let's say, frozen food to go, you're going to be doing an in-store sort of market that people can come into and grab some items from. And you're also going to be doing delivery and in-restaurant pickup. Doing all of that, going from nothing to all of that online, is going to be a nightmare to track everything. You're going to lose orders. People are going to get upset. They're going to come and things aren't going to be ready. Start small, only do the frozen stuff online, do the in-store market in-store only at first. And then, as you get used to selling things online, again, let's say you got 5 different services that you offer. As you get used to doing that one class online, then you can do the other 4 or 5. And really, once you have the everything sort of ironed out and everything's run smoothly, you add more to it. Also, you're not going to want to spread yourself too thin with products that you're offering and that sort of thing, but also with marketing. So concentrate your efforts on only maybe 1 or 2 marketing channels. Get them fully saturated. Have, hundreds of dollars a month going into each, rather than $800 going into 4 or 5. 500 going into 1 is going to give you way better results. And look for ways to get repeat business. So once you start getting some sales online, the real way you're going to find success is to get repeat business, to get those people back. So it costs an average of 5 times more to get a new customer than it does to keep a current one. So have a plan in place for everyone that's bought to, rebuy at some point. So social media, encouraging everyone that buys to go on social media and like you. You can actually, I think Pellicase does that. They used to anyway. I won't go searching for it, but if you followed them on Facebook, you would get certain discounts that you wouldn't get otherwise. Or I've seen others that, if you join their mailing list, you get 10% off your first purchase, whatever the case may be. Some sort of incentive for following on social media or for signing up for an email list that you can then market to those people to encourage repeat business. It's once they buy something and they like it, they're almost certainly will buy the next time. The other is knowing your sales cycle. So the sales cycle is the amount of time on average elapses between when a customer first recognizes that they need something and when they make their final purchase. So generally speaking, the lower cost the item, the lower the sales cycles. A loaf of bread. If you need a loaf of bread, you're going to go and you're going to buy it that day. There's no, research and, what's the best bread? What bread is right for my family? This bread's going to be with me for the next 5 years. I really want to make sure I get the right one. That doesn't happen, but it does with a car. No one says, I need a car today, and goes to and buys a car. Well, maybe some people do. Not in my experience anyway. You're going to go to a few lots. You're going to research. You're going to figure out, what's got the best safety rating, what costs the less to run, check your insurance, to see, what your family think, what's the right size, and it's going to be, weeks, months, maybe before you make a purchase, depending on how desperately you need the car. So knowing that sales cycle helps you, one, follow up the right way, and also lets you, if you have a product that expires, every 3 months, or has a shelf life of 3 months, that they're going to need something again in 3 months. So that can also be part of your sales cycle. So it allows you to basically get your ads in front of people at the right time. And also, if they are part of your email follow-up, you can follow up with them. Either you got to do it right away, or you can wait a few weeks and get them when they're a little farther down the sales cycle. Keeping it simple. This is the biggest thing with e-commerce. If you think of nothing else out of this, keep it simple is the biggest thing. Your offer should be simple and easy to understand. Your products, should be easy to find. Your website should be easy to use. Nothing should be complicated. Shipping right out of the bat, they should know how much it's going to cost them, how long it's going to take them to get the product once they bought it. Everything should be right out in the open, simple for them to understand, easy to use, and no complicated, like, oh, I've seen some where it's, okay, yeah, you buy one, you get one free, but there's this, and this in order to get that one free. And then you have to sign up for the newsletter in order to get it. And then, but then there's this shipping cost because you're out of our delivery area, which we didn't mention. And, it just ends up being this whole rigmarole to get something that, if it was just made clear, you'd probably end up getting more sales, because people just get frustrated at a certain point that it's not what it seems. And as I sort of briefly mentioned there, don't hide shipping costs. Shipping should be obvious. If you charge $10, say you charge $10. If it's free, say it's free. Especially if it's free, say it's free. Hidden costs of anything, shipping, or again, this promotion doesn't apply for this vague reason. This can really affect your conversion rate. Whereas if it's mentioned ahead of time, you're going to get more sales overall. You'll get less people, let's say, going to the checkout page, but you're going to get a lot more completed orders. So having the shipping costs shown, even if they're high, will, again, less people will go because okay, that's too high, and then they won't go to the checkout. But if they just realize at the checkout, they're still not going to buy. You're just making them go through a process that they're never going to complete. Another thing that a lot of e-commerce stores don't do that they should be doing is utilizing upselling and cross-selling. And this can be where getting a good e-commerce sort of focused CMS can really help, that they'll have these sort of features already built in, is upselling and cross-selling. So upselling is encouraging customers to make a purchase that is comparable but higher end to the one that they want to buy. So they have, their $50 item, but then there's a premium $75 item. On the checkout page, it'd say, oh, do you want this instead? Or customers also looked at, something to that effect, and they can see the higher end product, which has the information. Oh, okay, well, that one actually is better. And, maybe 1 out of 10 people will buy the higher end product, or 2 out of 10 people will buy the higher end product rather than the one they initially put in. It's not something where you ever really lose sales from it. But again, a certain percentage of people will be upsold to that higher end product just purely by having it in front of them. Cross-selling is adding on related or complementary products or services to their order. So, it could be, actually, before I go to that, one more thing of upselling is higher quantities. So if they have, for a service, let's say, if they're buying, again, I keep using the example, you're a yoga studio and you have, one class is $50, 2 classes is $90. The upsell can be to the 2 class pack to save money, even though you're getting a higher dollar amount and you're giving them a reason to buy. It's still an upsell. Cross-selling is more of an add-on. So you're getting the class, but then you'll also get a yoga mat, for a discounted price if you bundle them together. That's more of a cross sell. Or it could just be simply, just adding on, oh, you're getting a yoga mat, you might also want a water bottle, add that on. It's $10. It's easy. Cross sells are usually either you're bundling things together, or it's like a sort of low dollar impulse buy, essentially. But both of those, upselling and cross-selling, can increase your average sale. And in e-commerce, it's all about the average sale amount as well as repeat business. So those are the two things you're going to get. It's not as much volume in getting 100 orders as getting 50 orders with a higher average sales amount, because there is the shipping and there are some other costs that you would have to fulfill orders, a time cost as well for yourself to pack the orders and send them, that you don't necessarily have with in-store purchases. So increasing your average sale amount online, I would say, is even more important than it is in store. So wrapping up quickly, e-commerce provides a massive opportunity to small businesses. No matter what you sell, product, service, doesn't really matter. E-commerce can help. But make sure you know who you're selling to and sell to them and not to everyone. Have a plan in place before you start selling online. The biggest thing we see is people just simply, okay, I have to go online now. Let's get an e-commerce store. Let's put everything up and just see what happens. That will never work, or almost never, let's say. Know how you're going to fill orders, how you're going to deliver orders, how you're going to deal with returns, but also have a plan in place for promoting everything. So it's not enough just to put an online store up. You need some sort of promotion. You need ads out there to get people to the website to make purchases. And it can be too with your existing, we didn't talk about it, but email marketing can be very effective if you have a large email list. It's not all about ads, but it's all about promotion, content on your website to get people in, working on your SEO. Everything you can do will help. It's just a matter of kind of focusing in on the things that are going to help the most, which is often ads. So make sure your ads demonstrate why people should buy your products or services. Why do business with you is the number one thing you need to answer on your website, in your ads, everything you do. Why us, not them? The positioning, the offer. And don't forget about your website. Make sure it's easy to use, it loads quickly, mobile friendly, as simple as possible, easy to navigate. All those things will make huge differences in the conversion rate of your website. Even if you're selling something that's completely unique and no one else sells, people will be turned off by your website and will leave if it's not mobile friendly, if it takes forever to load. It's, again, low attention spans. People get frustrated easily with websites that don't work the way they think they should, and you'll lose sales. So that's it. A little bit about me. Again, my name is Zack. I'm from Lure Marketing. We're based out of Kingston, but do kind of service all of Ontario, basically. We provide a wide range of digital marketing services, digital ad campaigns, content marketing, SEO, website development, and we're able to help with pretty much any stage of e-commerce strategies, from helping you just basically develop your strategy to creating ad campaigns, website optimizations, performance improvements. We do build e-commerce from scratch. So if you do have any questions, you need any help, definitely feel free to reach out, and there's a clickable link there to our website. We do have some time for questions if anyone has any questions, but otherwise we're pretty much ready to wrap up. Yeah, okay. I guess there's no questions, so we're pretty much good.
All right. I will send everything out to everyone. I will send out once I have the presentation already, so I'll send it out to all the participants, and I will also send you the YouTube link. So if you wish to watch it again, or you had to step away or whatever, it's all available. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks for having me.